All kinds of NFL news going on that we'll get you up to date on throughout the program here. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Haven't mentioned that yet. And also, we are live from the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. I'm Tank Spencer, and he's Ron George. So last night, first off, with the bracket coming out, was there anybody that you were upset didn't get in the tournament?
No, Duke's not in it, which makes me.
Well, we knew that.
I know.
Coming.
It just still makes me happy.
Well, it should. It should bring a smile to everybody's face to know that Mike Krzyzewski's going to have to sit at home and watch the tournament.
When was the last time they weren't in the tournament?
1995.
Oh my God.
1995 was the last time.
I was 1 year old. I was a baby. A baby.
Good Lord. I was in high school the last time. You had already graduated. Brian had already graduated high school. He's the old man of the group. It's been forever, and you know, it's one of these things. You know, you're eventually it's going to catch you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's happened in North Carolina. I'm glad that it finally happened to Duke, so now we can say, ha, 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 ha. Remember all that shit you were talking a couple of years ago? How's it feel, fuckface? Sorry. I got a lot of anger built up inside of me. For Duke fans, mostly.
Yeah.
For Duke, you know, I reserve my best hate for Duke fans, because it's just the way it is. Gonzaga gets the #1 overall seed.
Not a shocker.
Nobody's shocked by that. Here's the thing. There are so many great storylines with this tournament. Duke being out of it hadn't even really crossed my mind until Jerron said it, and now it's the only thing I can think about. Mm-hmm. Let's just marinate on this for a second. Okay, I'm done marinating. Gonzaga gets the #1 overall seed. You got Baylor, you got Michigan, you got Illinois. Of the 4 #1 seeds, who's the most vulnerable?
The most vulnerable?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one. Illinois?
You think so?
Illinois. They put up a game against Ohio State.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
But I don't want to bet against Gonzaga, Villanova, or Baylor. Yeah, they'd probably be in my bottom of the 4, and that's
Michigan. Michigan's the other one. Too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Illinois.
Yeah, I'm going Michigan. I'm thinking Michigan is the weakest of the group.
Yeah. It would not shock me if all 4 of those #1s make it to the Final Four, though.
And see, here's the thing. You know you're doing it wrong.
I know it won't happen.
You know you're doing it wrong. In a year of college basketball where nothing has been normal, everything has been weird. Yeah. Things have happened. I mean, for God's sakes, Georgia Tech won the ACC championship. First off, let's give them a round of applause. Josh Pastner and the Yellow Jackets win their first conference title since, 1995 or something. It's one of those things you didn't expect. I went into Saturday after, Florida State beat Carolina, and I went, yeah, this is done. Florida State's going to get their back-to-back title, and this is why you guys can't have nice things.
They should have had a COVID test. That's what should have happened.
Mr. Sensitivity.
Results didn't come back yet.
Yeah, Mr. Sensitivity, wishing the virus on him. Okay, but I mean, these things happen. It's March. Things are crazy. Georgetown running through the Big East tournament. Who saw that coming? Nobody.
No one.
Not even Patrick Ewing saw that coming.
No.
We thought the biggest news coming out of the Big East tournament was going to be the fact that Patrick Ewing can't go to the bathroom without getting his ID checked. But no. Yeah, I mean, maybe that was a motivator for his team.
Maybe.
I don't know. He's like, look at the disrespect. They don't even respect me as your head coach. And here we go. And they ran through and beat Villanova, Marquette, Villanova, Seton Hall, and Creighton, I think, was the route that they took. And nobody saw that coming.
No.
And now this is a team that you're going, maybe they got something for the first round of the NCAA tournament. But beyond that, you can't trust them. Because they're going up against Colorado in the first round, and Colorado seems to be like the darling of everybody.
Yep.
I don't understand it.
Well, they shoot threes like nobody's business.
Yeah, I get that. And they're the best free throw shooting team in the country. I get it. Okay, those things matter. The games are won and lost at the charity stripe. I understand that.
Yep.
But you can shoot free throws. Other than that, I've seen nothing in any of the footage that I've seen of Colorado basketball. Because trust me, I'm not staying up in the middle of the night to watch Colorado basketball. Just not happening. Bill Walton can't even sell me on Colorado basketball. I'm sorry. But I don't know. I look at that and go, that's a 12-5 matchup that might be kind of spicy. Maybe Georgetown's got one more left in them to pull the upset.
Maybe. I want to see Florida State, Colorado, though. Kind of want to see it.
Why? But that's the thing. Why? Why do we care about Colorado basketball? Just because you want to be the one to shut everybody up about them?
Maybe.
I mean,
the dark horse of the NCAA tournament, Colorado. I've heard it so many times.
Right. Don't sleep on this Colorado team. They can shoot free throws really well. Yay! You can shoot free throws. It's a good thing, though. I mean, there are a lot of teams in college basketball that can't shoot free throws for shit. So it does matter. Like I say, games are won and lost there. And if it comes down to a close game, I get it. I want the better free throw shooting team.
Yeah.
Because it gets down to a close game. Where's that game going to be won? On the line.
On the line.
You're going to seal every win on the line as long as it stays close. And, you know, it worked for Colorado in the Pac-12. But, again, it worked for Colorado in the Pac-12. That's
very true.
I can't give I don't give much credence to anybody out of the Pac-12. USC with Evan Mobley, just because he's a fantastic basketball player, and they're the only team that I could see winning a couple of games from the Pac-12 in the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely.
But that's just me. We have a chance this year to see something that we haven't seen since 1976. You're going to keep hearing this over and over and over again. No team has completed the perfect season, the undefeated season, since Bobby Knight in Indiana in 1976.
Yep.
It hasn't gone well for teams that gone into the tournament that are undefeated. It's happened 4 times since 1979. 4 times.
Really?
Teams have gone into the tournament undefeated. Kentucky did it in 2015. They made the Final Four. And then they lost. 2014, Wichita State. They lost in the second round, who had that one? I had that one.
Yeah.
I had that one. I knew that shit was coming immediately. Woohoo! We went undefeated in the fucking, I don't even know what conference they're in anymore.
I don't even know.
Nah, I can't remember. It's one of the mid-major conferences. But, I mean, Gonzaga's always been that team for me as well. Gonzaga's always been the team that they go in, they're, one loss, 2 losses on the season, they're a number 1 seed, and you go, yep, that's the first one's going to lose.
There it is.
Absolutely. And I give credit to Mark Few because now he's the one guy I'm looking at and I'm going, you know what? All of these teams, or at least both of the teams that have happened, because I was a little young for UNLV in 1991.
Yeah.
I wasn't making bracket prognostications at 7 years old. So that was early for me. But these other 2 teams, when they were undefeated, I went, yeah, that's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
That's not going to work. Illinois. I was hoping Illinois was going to bust through their conference tournament in 2005.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to that because Carolina was the number 1 team in the country. Illinois was the number 2 team in the country. They were going back and forth. And I think Illinois was actually number 1 because they were undefeated.
Yeah.
And then they lost in the conference championship game, and they go in, with 1 loss.
Yep.
And what happened? They ended up in the national championship game against Carolina. Carolina took care of business. I don't believe in, I've never believed in a undefeated or damn near undefeated team going into the tournament. It's just eventually that loss is going to catch you. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that about Gonzaga, though. I actually believe Gonzaga has the best shot of anybody to complete the undefeated run. There's not another team in the country, in my opinion, that can hang in with Gonzaga to the finish.
So good. I'm looking at who they could potentially play to go.
They've beaten them all.
Yeah, I know.
They've beaten them all. The 3 biggest seeds in their bracket So they're in the West bracket.
Yep.
They've already beaten Iowa. They've already beaten Kansas. They've already beaten Virginia. And pretty handily. All three of those by double digits. Now, granted, that was early in the season when these teams didn't have things figured out. But do you really look at these teams and go, yeah, they've got it all figured out? Iowa's the closest one. Iowa with Luka Garza and Joe Weiskamp, that's like that's one of the best, upperclassmen tandems in the country.
Yep.
Joe Weissman is going to keep them in ball game shooting. Luka Garza is going to get his 20 rebounds or his 20 points at least and 16 boards. He might go 20-20 in the tournament against lesser teams. But they already beat them by 11 earlier this year. They beat Kansas by 12. They beat Virginia by 21. They have no competition, in my opinion, in their bracket. If you don't have Gonzaga coming out of the West bracket, you did it wrong.
Yeah.
In a year where we're saying if you go chalk, you did it wrong, I don't see the path.
It's almost a lock to say Iowa and Gonzaga will be the two to make it to the Final Eight. I don't see how it's not.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, one of my favorite upset picks in the first round is Eastern Washington over Kansas. I don't know what the deal is with Kansas and Bill Self, but they're not their normal selves.
Yeah.
They have lost every big game they've been in this year, just about.
Yep.
It's just.
And they just had that. We're out of the tournament for the COVID stuff.
They're coming off of COVID.
Yeah.
They had to pull out of the Big 12 tournament because of COVID.
Yep.
Now, granted, nobody's going to be, have their powers zapped by the coronavirus or anything like that. But
you lose your mojo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were a hot team going in, going into the cutoff, and to have everything abruptly end like that and shut it down and go, okay, we got to focus on the tournament. Maybe it'll help them. Maybe that extra week. We always say, you never want to give great coaches the ability to prepare.
Right.
If you're going to catch them, you're going to catch them on a surprise or something.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that to Bill Self.
No.
But that is one of my favorite picks. Eastern Washington
I like that.
to upset Kansas, because we are going to have this happen. You are going to have teams lose. I just don't know that it's going to be any of the big ones. Because I can't wrap my head around Gonzaga losing, like I said, to anybody in their bracket. They've already beaten everybody. They got to play Virginia again. They already spanked them once earlier this season, and Virginia's not the greatest of teams. I mean, I get it. They're the defending national champions. Fuck if I have to hear that again. And you're going to until they lose. These are the defending national champions. Well, they would have lost in the first round of the tournament last year. Maybe not. I mean, maybe they would have won a couple. But they wouldn't have, they're not the defending national champions. We didn't have a tournament last year. I'm good with saying nobody's a defending national champion.
Yeah.
But Gonzaga coming out of the West, to me, I feel like, and here's the other one. Just because Jeremy has been so against Drake, he has gone out of his way to diss Drake every step of the way. Drake's going to make Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Because if they can get past USC and Evan Mobley, which is going to be ridiculous, it'll be one of those unexpected things. Maybe Evan Mobley scores 35 points. USC still loses.
You said to the Elite Eight?
If they still lose. No, Sweet 16.
Okay, I was about to say, they're not beating Iowa.
Because if they could pull that off, then they get Eastern Washington.
Yeah, which they can beat
And
them.
these are the little honey holes that you have to look for. When you got two upsets, this is how these teams make the Sweet 16. And then they could beat Eastern Washington.
Yeah.
And then get trounced by Iowa. I don't know. It's just a path that kind of played out in my head. I kind of like it.
Do you have a lock for your Elite Eight?
For the Elite Eight? Oh, you're going to hate it.
Am I?
You're going to hate it a lot. And I think anybody listening is going to go, that's not going to happen.
What do you have, UNC?
I don't have any, in the original bracket that I did, I don't have anybody less than a 3 seed in the Elite Eight. And I know I'm doing it wrong. I know I'm doing it to myself.
It's just hard when you look at these teams.
Right, like how can you make these arguments?
What do you have? Baylor, Ohio State, Gonzaga, Iowa.
I have Gonzaga, Iowa, Baylor, Arkansas, Michigan, Alabama, and Illinois, Houston. It's all 1, 2, 1, 3 seeds.
Yeah.
I'm doing it wrong. Exactly. I'm doing it wrong. Because there's going to be somebody slip up in there. But there are little teams that I believe you can get a win. You can get 2 wins, maybe. But for the most part, I don't know. Like, so let's just look at some of the favorites.
Okay.
All right. So, or some of the favorite Cinderellas of the tournament. UNC Greensboro. Let's start locally.
Okay.
UNC Greensboro matches up against Florida State. Does anybody feel good about that? Do you think UNC Greensboro? Isaiah Miller is incredible, but Scotty Barnes is probably going to take him to church. Mm-hmm. Dude's 6'8", an athletic freak. Isaiah Miller, I love him to death. He plays tenacious basketball. He is everywhere on the basketball court. Every big play in the Southern Conference tournament that happened for UNCG, Isaiah Miller did it somehow. Either he was the guy on the breakaway with the dunk, he forced the turnover to get the easy basket, whatever it is. Guy is a scrambler. He is a perfect senior level point guard in college basketball. I don't think it's going to matter. Florida State can out-talent them.
I agree.
All over the place. Plain and simple. Liberty. Some people like Liberty. I can't look at Liberty with a objective eye because they've been a rival in the Big South to UNC Asheville, who I've been doing games for 10 years now. We hate Liberty with a passion because they've always had money and they've always thought they were better than everybody else. All right, that may be true in football. They're doing a hell of a job in football. Give them all the credit in the world. I'll root for you till kingdom come. Hugh Freeze, love him to death. That program is on the rise. When it comes to basketball, though, I can't do it. Because what I see when I look at Liberty was they left the Big South to join the A-Sun where there's no competition. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've got Florida, Gulf Coast, and who else? I have no idea who else is in that tournament. You don't know who any of them are. It's a bunch of Stetsons, and nobody cares.
Right.
But they roll through the conference. Everybody's like, oh, that's a good basketball team. Yeah, they're a good basketball team. Do you think that they're going to be able to go in and beat Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State?
No.
No!
I don't know why anyone would think that.
I'm saying, it would have been cool if they'd have matched up against
Oregon State or
San
Tennessee.
Diego State. If they'd have been an 11 seed and they'd have got San Diego State, I'm all in. Liberty. Let's take them to the next round.
Yeah.
But they got a tough draw.
Yeah.
You got Cade Cunningham, who's probably going to be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. He's not number 1. He's going to be number 2. Yeah. He is one of the best all-around freshman basketball players I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Jeremy would say he doesn't play enough defense for him probably, but I don't care. He's an unbelievable talent, and they've got other guys on that team too. Avery Anderson, I think, is the kid's name that scored like 35 points the other night to carry them when Cade didn't have a good night. They've got a lot of guys that can just rotate on this team, and they can step up because, Cade's more than likely going to get his. He's probably going to get 25 points a night. But if he doesn't, you still have other pieces on that team that can come in. So I don't think Liberty's a threat.
Do you think the Midwest is the most competitive out of the 4? Because I do. Come together the most equal. Like, I'm looking at these matchups. Though I have trouble picking the Midwest compared to the East, compared to the Southwest. I feel like it's pretty much locked in for Gonzaga, pretty much. I like Baylor, I like Villanova, Ohio State. But I'm looking at Midwest. Illinois is good. Georgia Tech's good. They just won. Oklahoma State's good. Syracuse is good. Clemson, like that right there is where I struggle the most.
I don't want you to get Brian's head too big. Syracuse isn't good.
No, I
Syracuse
think they'll
is
beat.
okay.
I think they'll beat San Diego State. I don't think they're
think so,
getting
too.
past West Virginia though.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think they get. No.
Not a chance.
But that's the one I struggle
Because
the
the
most
one
with.
thing, there are certain teams that you don't bet against
Right.
in March. You just don't do it. For the most part, there are certain teams who are not going to let you down in March.
Right.
And as much as it hurts my soul to say, most of the time it's going to be a team coached by Jim Boeheim. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they might not win at all, but they make deep runs, especially when they're not supposed to. Let's see. Last time they made the tournament, they were in the first four, I believe.
Yeah.
And they went to the Sweet 16. Do you remember when they were a 10 seed a few years back?
I did.
They went to the final fucking four. Nobody thought that it was possible, but it's just that weird friggin' 2-3 zone shit that they do on defense. And if they're hitting their threes, they're unbelievable. And who's shooting the basketball in the country right now better than Buddy Boeheim?
Yeah.
I'll wait.
Right.
I'm sure he doesn't have the number one field goal percentage.
Yeah.
But I bet you he's close. In the last month of the season, I'll guarantee you Buddy Boeheim's in the top 5 in the country in shooting.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's a team that I'm not gonna root against. Plus, I've got Syracuse alum in my family. I can't. It's a law. You can't root against them in the tournament.
Yeah.
But them, and then there's Tom Izzo,
Yeah. That's always the thing.
which, first round exits are not common for Tom Izzo coach teams. A few years ago, they got upset by, who was it, Norfolk?
Yeah.
I think it was Norfolk State, upset them as a 14 seed, 15 seed, something like that. Mm-hmm. Anywho, they're going to lose in the first four.
Yeah.
Do you think that's possible? Because this is the greatest first four matchup we've ever had.
I agree.
They like to say that they don't do this, but you'll never convince me that they don't look at the TV ratings and they don't make these decisions on, you know what, that's an excellent matchup. How are we going to get people invested in this tournament? Because it's so weird, and the first day, we're doing all the first four games on Thursday. How do we get people tuned in? How do we get people excited about the tournament to come?
That'll do it.
You give them a matchup of Michigan State and UCLA at the end of the night on the first four, we're not going to watch the 16 games. Nobody watches that shit. No one cares. I mean, unless the only time I've ever watched those games is when UNC Asheville's in them.
Yeah.
And that happened a couple of times in the Eddie Biedenbach years. But other than that,
Or your
nobody
degenerate gambler.
Right. Like
Yeah.
Appalachian State fans, you got something to root for on Thursday.
Kinda.
I mean, but hey, it is a big deal for little programs
It is.
to be able to say, we got to win in the NCAA tournament, because technically that counts.
Yeah.
Then you're going to get smoked by Gonzaga in the first round. But I hope the Mountaineers are able to pull it off. I would.
Don't they play them in the first round, Appalachian State?
Yeah, Appalachian State plays Norfolk State in the first four.
Oh, that's right.
So they got
That's
a chance to win a game on Thursday and
right.
then get demolished on Saturday.
I forgot those little. Ugh.
Yeah, the little
Yeah.
play-in games. But nobody's going to watch that. But then you give me 11 seeds and you're throwing out Michigan State and UCLA.
Which is a good one.
Let alone, this would be, I think this is, no, maybe not. I was going to say this might be one of those special tournaments at the preseason because they're such historic programs that you would throw them together. I was trying to think that they were in that Las Vegas thing with Carolina and Kentucky, but it's Kansas that's in that.
Yeah.
That rotates every year. But Michigan State could absolutely be in that group.
Yeah.
So,
Brought to you by-
how much of a stain would it be on Michigan State?
Brought by Rocket Mortgage.
Right, the Michigan State Spartans, presented by Rocket Mortgage, could go out in the first round. Or, well, the first four. I know technically they call that the first round. I love that. I love that members of the media are revolting against this whole first round, second round thing. the big write-up on ESPN, one of the prognostication articles on ESPN was like, I'm gonna refer to everything as the first round is the field of 64 because nobody gives a shit about the first 4.
No.
Because technically that's supposed to be the second round now because we need to be inclusive of the first 4 teams.
Oh my God.
No. They're playing games. They shouldn't even really be technically part of the tournament, in my opinion. Because then you end up with things like stupid stats like at one point it was in the last 10 years, UNC Asheville had won 2 games in the NCAA tournament and Illinois had not. Well, that's deceiving.
Yeah.
Because these guys ended up playing Texas, Southwestern Alabama State.
Yeah.
And ended up winning 2 games in the NCAA tournament. It doesn't really count all that much. As far as other Cinderellas, I mean, I just think all the sexy ones got really bad matchups.
Yep.
Winthrop is another one.
Yep.
Winthrop's got to go up against Villanova. That's going to be a hard game for them to win. And Jay Wright is a very, very good basketball coach.
I
now,
agree.
Pat Kelsey is a great coach as well. And, Winthrop coming out of the Big South, they've got, senior-laden team. I like that. But they don't have any dynamic scorers. They've got the player of the year in the Big South. But that guy, the reason I can't remember, Chandler Valdrin, I think is his name. And the only reason he was a player of the year was because he averages a triple-double every night.
Yep.
Because the guy scores 12 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists every night, pretty much. There's nothing really that screams off the page about Winthrop other than, solid mid-major play. Yeah.